Just made it on top of Pinnacles, a little over an hour in. It's now I got about a mile and a half till I get to Juniper Ridge, and it's all downhill from there to the desert. Forgot to check in when I started. I'll make a video in a little bit. All right, already at the Juniper Canyon Trail. I was only up here in the mountains for 10 or 15 minutes, it feels like. It says 6.7 miles to Dotson, so that's going to be the desert. According to my map, it's a little bit less than that. Hopefully I can get down there in about 2 hours. Hopefully a little less than 2 hours, actually, in an hour and a half. We'll see. All right, we're at Dotson Trail. That says 11.5 miles to Blue Creek, which is where Homer Wilson Ranch is, which is where my water is. I think it's a little shorter than 11.5 miles. Look, the sun's rising. It's beautiful. Just saw a rattlesnake about 2 minutes ago. Probably should have taken a video of it, but it was a little scary. All right, on the way to Homer Wilson. All right, hello again, Homer Wilson Ranch. It's kind of covered up. Dotson Trail was longer than I thought. Took a little over 3.5 hours to get here. But that's okay, I'm feeling good. Had a nice, it started raining. I saw a rainbow, some thunder. Now I'm gonna get my water, and here comes the fun part. Get to climb back up the mountains. Luckily though, should be back in 2 or 3 hours. Blue Creek Trail area. Don't know why it doesn't say the miles. Go get my water way over there. All right, at the top of Blue Creek at Laguna Meadows. I'd be lying if I said that wasn't hard. It's pretty hard. But luckily, it's all downhill from here. All right, here's the ending. Finally almost done. There's the sign. It's not my watch. Oh, good times. All right, it is the morning following my completion of the Outer Mountain Loop in 1 day. I'm feeling really good. I'm definitely sore, but I slept great last night, and I can't complain. But I wanted to put some of my thoughts on video just so I could kind of remember the experience better in the future, and also talk about what went well, what didn't go well, and what I think I could improve if I ever did that again. Well, first of all, I'm glad I did it. Realizing how hot it is here in June, even in the Chisos, it felt pretty hot on the way back down. Just realizing how hot it really is, even though I do feel like I'm acclimated to the heat and do sauna training and all that, I do feel like this was this could have been really dangerous, and I got lucky. I got lucky because it was very cloudy in the morning, and when I was on the Dotson Trail, I had shade the entire time, which is not common at all. So I was saved from the worst of the heat. That being said, I'm glad I did it. If I were to ever do it again, I would definitely aim for the months of November to February. I think I could have been faster. So I finished this in a little over 10 hours. I think it was 10 hours and 20 minutes or something. I think I could have gotten that down in about 9 hours, maybe even less than 9 hours, with a few different ways. I think, first of all, starting at 3:30 in the morning, I was in darkness for about 3 hours, a little over 3 hours, which obviously makes navigating more difficult and slows you down. I had some bright flashlights, but I could have been a little faster if I had sunlight. Also doing this in the wintertime when it is cooler, especially that last section for me, I wouldn't have been as tired, I don't think. I think if it was 60 degrees yesterday when I was doing this, I would have had more energy, which would have made me faster and save time. I also think figuring out a way to be faster, maybe with the water supply, resupply, that kind of slowed me down. When I got to Homer Wilson Ranch, I ended up spending, it had to be at least, I mean, close to 20 minutes, not even moving. Like having to walk all the way to the water catch, fill up my water containers, and all of that. That took way longer than I thought it would. What else? Well, what went well? I definitely think starting at 3:30 in the morning was the right move for this time of year. It would have been probably impossible for me to finish this if I didn't have that much of a head start on the sun. So that went well. And even though it was dark in the Chisos, I've done some night trail running before. So having my headlamp and an extra flashlight with me, I was able to move pretty quickly. That really first 10, 11 miles, I was moving pretty fast, I think. I want to say I got from the trailhead to the start of Dotson in about 3 hours, which is pretty quick. So that went well. What didn't go well, the last 8 miles for sure. So leaving Homer Wilson Ranch, well, let's start here. Getting to Homer Wilson Ranch, I felt pretty good. I wasn't exhausted yet. I mean, I felt like I had done a lot, but I wasn't exhausted. But then leaving Homer Wilson Ranch, you're following this wash up Blue Creek, which I knew would be there, so I knew it wouldn't be fun. But every step you take, kind of the small rocks absorb your steps, so it feels like you're just automatically being slowed down. So I couldn't run in that, at least not effectively. I didn't even try to. So I was just trying to speed hike. And that wash starts to gain an elevation. So it's a double whammy. You have the small rocks and you're climbing. I want to say you end up climbing like over 3,000 feet on Blue Creek. And then by the time you get to the real climbing on Blue Creek, I was already feeling tired. And then Blue Creek was just a butt kicker. But you know what? Even all of Blue Creek, I didn't feel dead. I felt like, I was ready to be done, but I wasn't death marching to the end. I was just really excited to get to Laguna Meadows because I know Laguna Meadows. I know that trail well. And I just figured, hey, once I get there, it's over. Well, that was I think that was more of a head game for me because I got to Laguna Meadows and it was not over. It was 3.5 miles. And I think mentally I just figured I'd be done once I got there. I wasn't mentally prepared for 3.5 miles of just going down the mountain. And that was probably the hardest section for me. Although it's not a hard section, right? It's all down mountain, downhill. But it was really hot at that point. And just the pounding on my legs was tough. So it took a lot for me just to keep moving. And at that point too, I was feeling the pressure of finishing in under 10 hours. And I think I could have finished in under 10 hours if I didn't go slow during that section. If I had a second wind at Laguna Meadows, if I would have been able to run those last 3.5 miles down the hill, I could have finished in under 10 hours. But I just knew I couldn't run. Every step was a chore. And that pounding on my quads, man, it was not fun. But I made it to the end. So that was definitely the lowest point, was probably Blue Creek, especially Laguna Meadows. But overall, great experience. I'm so glad I did it. Some things I want to mention. I saw 3 snakes on Dotson Trail. I think 2 of them were Western diamondback rattlesnakes. And then another one was, I think, a blacktail. It was real small, and I think it was sleeping. Like, I didn't even disturb it. I saw it after I passed it. The 2 rattlesnakes I saw, though, were disturbed. and that was scary. First one I was able to avoid before getting close to it. The second one I didn't even see, and luckily it was off trail as I passed it, but it was only about 2 feet away from me, and that thing was like 4 feet long. It was huge, and its rattle was going off. I've heard rattlesnakes before, but that rattle was extra loud. So I'm glad he was warning me, but it would have been game over if I would have gotten bit by one of those. What else? It was beautiful. Dotson Trail in particular, because I just figured it'd be kind of ugly because it's just kind of this section in the desert. And part of the reason I liked it so much was the storm that rolled in. But it was just real. I mean, it started raining gently. I saw a double rainbow. The rain just brings out all this life in the desert. The smell was incredible. So that was really enjoyable. I didn't get to really enjoy Pinnacles or the ascend up Chisos or down Juniper Ridge because it was dark. But I know all those trails. Juniper Ridge, not so much. I could see that being extra nice during sunrise as they're descending down in the desert, seeing the sunrise. That would be cool. But I know that area well, so I don't think I really missed too much. Blue Creek was also a very unique trail. I mean, like I said, you start off flat desert wash, and you go up these remarkable canyons that I've never seen in Big Bend before. But I mean, they're red rocks at the top. Then you follow through this canyon land until you get up to the mountains, and you just experience that change from desert to mountain elevation a little more. Things become a little bit more shady, a little bit more life growing. Lots of cicadas. That was surprising. Cicadas in the middle of the daytime. All in all, what else? My water strategy worked out great. I carried too much water that first section. Now, granted, if it would have been super hot on Dotson, it probably would have been enough. But I carried about almost 5 liters. I think it was 4.7 liters. I didn't use it all when I got to Homer Wilson Ranch. I think I had an extra liter by the time I got to Homer Wilson Ranch. And even that, I could have had more extra water on top of that, but I was aggressively drinking the water the last 2 miles because I knew I was getting close to Homer Wilson. And I just figured, hey, let me just consume all this. So I drank more than I needed to. And then I carried 3 liters, only 3, I shouldn't say only, but I filled up 3 liters at Homer Wilson. And honestly, that was barely enough. It got so hot at the end of that section. I think I finished the last bit of my water at the very end of Lugita Meadow, so I kind of nailed it time-wise, but that could have been a sticky situation. Food was tough. I definitely had enough calories in my pack. I just didn't have an appetite, so I ate what I could, a lot of gel packets. I had a beef stick at one point. I think that was it. Beef stick and some gel packets. Definitely not enough calories. And what was surprising is even after, when I finished the hike and I was so tired, I just wanted to sit down. I didn't have an appetite. In fact, I bought 2 Cokes because I figured, hey, what would be better than a nice ice sugary Coke? And that was not as satisfying as it normally is after a long trail run or day of exertion. It took me like 3 hours just to start feeling normal appetite-wise again. All in all, great time. I'm so glad I did it. I don't know if I'll ever do it again. I probably won't have an opportunity to do it again, but if I do ever have an opportunity to do it again solo in one day, I would definitely do it in the wintertime. Outside of that, I hope to backpack it one day. I'll definitely do that. It'd be nice to spend 3 days out there, not rushing. But it was great. I'm so glad I finished. I'm glad I didn't have to quit. And it was a bucket list item for sure.